The scrapyard was quiet that night. Only the sound of wind moving through piles of broken metal echoed. Old ships, ruined machines, and rusted parts covered the land like a graveyard of forgotten times. In the middle of it, a small workshop stood with dim yellow lights inside. A human mechanic named Joran worked with tired hands, his clothes dirty with oil and sweat. He was fixing an old generator, his tools clinking against metal. Joran was not rich, not powerful. He was just a man trying to survive by repairing what others had thrown away. The world outside the scrapyard was full of danger, but in his small corner, Joran found some peace. But that night, peace did not last. From the shadows of the scrapyard, a figure stumbled forward. It was a woman, but not human. Her skin was pale blue, her long hair tangled and wet with blood. She held something close to her chest. Her body shaking, her breathing was weak, as if every step might be her last. Joran heard the faint sound and looked up. At first he thought it was just another scavenger, but when the woman fell at his doorway, he rushed forward. His eyes widened when he saw the truth. She was an alien mother, broken and dying. "Please," she whispered, her voice trembling. Her eyes were wide with fear. Her arms slowly moved, revealing a small bundle wrapped in cloth. A baby no bigger than Joran's arm slept inside, its tiny face glowing faintly with strange patterns across the skin. Joran froze, his hand shook. He had never seen such a child before. The glowing lines looked alive, pulsing like veins of light.
"Take her," the alien mother begged, her body trembling.
They are coming. They will take her. They will use her, please. Protect her." Joran's mouth opened, but no words came out. He had no family, no friends. Only his tools and machines. He was not a soldier, not a hero. How could he protect a child from enemies he did not even know? But before he could ask, before he could say no, the alien woman coughed blood. Her hands pressed the baby closer to his chest. Her eyes filled with tears. "She is innocent. She is hope," she whispered. "Promise me, human, promise me you will not let them win." Her body gave a final shiver. Her breath slowed. Her eyes went still. She was gone. Joran knelt there in shock. The baby now in his arms, his heart pounded. He had seen death before, but never like this. A mother's last breath, given only to save her child. He looked down at the baby. The glowing lines on her skin pulsed softly, almost as if they were aware of him. Suddenly, the silence of the scrapyard broke. In the distance, heavy footsteps echoed. Metal clanks, strange growls, the sound of something hunting. Joran's head snapped toward the noise, his instincts screamed at him. Whoever killed this mother was now looking for the baby, and they were close. He quickly carried the baby inside the workshop. Shutting the door with trembling hands, his mind raced. He could throw the child outside and save himself. He could pretend he never saw her, but when he looked at her tiny face, peaceful and fragile, something inside him hardened. He remembered his own past, a fire that had taken his family long ago, the helplessness of losing someone you loved. The alien mother's words echoed in his mind. "Promise me." Joran clenched his jaw. He whispered, "I promise." He laid the baby gently on the work table, covering her with a piece of cloth to hide the glow. His hands moved quickly, grabbing tools, sealing the door, setting traps with loose wires and sharp scraps of metal. The sound outside grew louder. Closer, the hunters were here. Through a crack in the wall, Joran saw them. Dark armored figures with glowing red eyes moving like shadows across the scrapyard. They carried weapons, scanning the ground, sniffing the air, searching. The baby stirred, a soft cry escaping her lips. Joran's heart nearly stopped. He pressed a finger gently against her mouth, whispering, "Shh! Stay quiet, little one. They can't find you." The footsteps stopped just outside his workshop. The metal door rattled. A deep voice growled, "We know she is here. Hand over the child, human, and you may live." Joran's hands shook. His mind raced. Fear tried to take control. But then he looked at the baby again. The glow on her skin brightened for a moment. Like a silent answer, he whispered to himself, "Not tonight, not ever." Outside, the enemy slammed against the door. The metal creaked. Joran grabbed a wrench in one hand, his other hand protecting the baby. He knew this was only the beginning. The alien mother had given her last breath to save her child, and now Joran, a simple human mechanic, stood between that child and the galaxy that wanted her destroyed, and he had made a promise he would not break. The night grew colder, but Joran could not feel the chill. His heart was beating too fast. Sweat rolled down his neck. Outside the workshop, The armored strangers searched the scrapyard. Their red eyes glowed in the dark like burning coals. Inside, Joran held the baby close. He had wrapped her in an old blanket, hoping to hide the strange glowing lines on her skin. But the glow still leaked faintly through the cloth. Soft and alive, quiet, Joran whispered. Rocking her gently, his voice shook. He was a mechanic, not a fighter. He had fixed broken machines, not faced armored killers, but now, his life was tied to this small child. The baby stirred, tiny hands moving. For a moment her eyes opened, bright and strange, not human. Joran froze as he saw patterns shift across her skin. Glowing brighter for a second, the lines looked almost like words, like a secret language written into her body. Joran shook his head. "What are you, little one?" he whispered. His voice carried more fear than curiosity. The door rattled again. Heavy fists slammed against the metal. "Give us the child, mechanic," the deep voice growled. "This is not your fight. You cannot hide her from us." Joran clenched his teeth. He wanted to shout back, wanted to tell them to leave, but he knew, the moment he made a sound, they would break in. His traps would only slow them down, not stop them. He hurried to the back of the workshop. Pushing aside old crates, he had a hidden passage, a tunnel he once dug to smuggle parts out without paying taxes. Now it might be the only way to save them. He placed the baby inside a small tool crate, padding it with rags so she would not cry. Then he pushed the crate into the tunnel and followed behind. Crawling through dirt and shadows, the sound of the enemies breaking the door echoed behind him. Metal screeched, wood shattered. "They're inside," Joran muttered. Crawling faster, dust filled his lungs. His arms scraped against sharp stones, but he did not stop. He pulled the crate along with him. The baby stayed quiet as if she understood the danger at last. He reached the other side of the tunnel, a cracked storage shed near the edge of the scrapyard. Joran lifted the baby into his arms. His chest rose and fell heavily. He peeked through the shed's broken wall and saw smoke rising from his workshop. They were tearing it apart. He closed his eyes for a moment. His workshop was all he had. Now it was gone. But when he looked down at the baby, sleeping in his arms, he whispered, "It doesn't matter, I promised her mother." "And I'll keep that promise." Joran walked away from the scrapyard, his boots crunching against gravel. He moved carefully, sticking to shadows, avoiding the red searchlight scanning the ground. His mind screamed at him to throw the child away and run, but his heart refused. Hours passed, and finally, he reached an abandoned hangar on the outskirts of the city. The place smelled of rust and dust. Broken ships lay like skeletons inside. Joran set the baby down on a flat metal panel and sat beside her. His body shook from exhaustion. He unwrapped the cloth just enough to see her face. Her skin glowed softly, the strange lines shifting like living rivers. For a moment, the glow lit up the dark hangar, and Joran felt something stir inside him, not fear but awe. "You're not just any baby," he whispered. "You're something bigger." The baby blinked as if answering. One glowing line on her chest pulsed brighter, forming a symbol. Joran didn't understand it, but he felt its weight, like it meant something important. He leaned back, running a hand through his messy hair. His thoughts tangled. Who were those armored soldiers? Why did they want the baby? Why had her mother chosen him, out of everyone, to protect her? Then he remembered the alien mother's last words. "She is hope." Hope for what? Joran wondered. Hope for a galaxy that had already forgotten people like him. He sighed and looked at the baby again. His tired eyes softened. "No matter what you are," he said, "I'll keep you safe even if it kills me." Suddenly, a noise echoed through the hangar. Joran's body stiffened. He grabbed a rusty wrench and held it like a weapon. His eyes searched the shadows. Two glowing red lights appeared at the far end of the hangar. The soldiers had found him. Joran's heart pounded. He scooped up the baby and ran deeper into the hangar. His boots clanged against metal floors, echoing through the ruins. The soldiers' footsteps followed, steady and merciless. Joran darted behind an old ship hull, hiding in the shadows. The baby pressed against his chest, her glow dimming as if she understood the need to hide. He held his breath. Every sound of the soldier's armor made his skin crawl. One of them stopped near the hull. Scanning the area, a deep voice growled, "The child is near. I can feel it." Joran's grip tightened around the baby. His mind raced for a plan. He was no soldier, but he was a mechanic. Machines were his language. His eyes spotted a loose fuel line above, barely hanging. He grabbed a piece of scrap metal and threw it. The clatter distracted the soldiers. One moved toward the noise, and Joran, with shaking hands, yanked the fuel line loose. Liquid spilled across the floor before they could notice. He pulled a small lighter from his pocket. He flicked it once, then twice. Until a flame appeared, he dropped it onto the fuel. A wall of fire roared up, lighting the hangar. The soldiers shouted, blinded by the sudden blaze. Joran used the chaos to slip away, the baby safe in his arms. Outside the hangar, under the night sky, Joran breathed hard. His heart felt heavy but alive. He looked down at the baby, who was watching him quietly. Her glowing lines pulsed like a heartbeat. He whispered, "We can't stay hidden forever. They'll keep coming for you, but I won't let them take you, not now, not ever." The baby cooed softly, as if agreeing, and so under the cold stars, the journey truly began. A human mechanic and an alien child, hunted by forces beyond his understanding. But Joran had made a promise, and he would not break it. The flames from the hangar still burned behind him. Lighting up the night sky, Joran didn't stop running. His arms held the baby tight against his chest. His lungs screamed for air, his legs trembled. But he didn't dare slow down. The armored soldiers would not give up so easily. He crossed the dark outskirts of the city. Moving through ruined alleys and broken streets, the baby was strangely quiet. Her glowing skin dimmed as if she knew the danger. That silence gave Joran strength. At last he reached an old junkyard on the city's edge, an even bigger maze of twisted ships and shattered machines. He slipped inside, hiding behind a mountain of metal wings. His chest rose and fell fast. He pressed his ear against the baby's head. Hearing her soft breath, "Safe for now," he whispered. Though he didn't believe it, a sharp sound cracked the night. A laser blast hit the metal pile beside him. Sparks flew. Joran ducked low, clutching the baby. His heart dropped. They had found him. Shadows moved across the junkyard. Tall armored figures spread out, their red eyes glowing in the darkness. Their voices echoed like thunder. "The child is near. Secure her at any cost." Joran's hands shook. He had no gun, no armor, no training. Only his mind, his tools, and his will to protect. His eyes darted across the junkyard, searching for something, anything he could use. His gaze fell on an old mining cart lying on its side, its wheels half broken. Nearby, a pile of explosive canisters lay forgotten. Joran's mind raced. He had fixed machines all his life. Maybe tonight he could turn broken things into weapons. He placed the baby carefully inside a hollow engine shell, covering her with cloth to hide the glow. "Stay quiet, little one," he whispered. "I'll come back for you." Then he crawled toward the mining cart. His hands moved quickly, attaching wires, tightening bolts, creating a crude trap. He pushed the canisters into the cart and set a spark coil beneath them. His breath shook. If it worked, it might buy them time. If not, they were both dead. The sound of boots grew louder. The soldiers closed in. One voice growled, "Human surrender, you cannot fight us." Joran gritted his teeth. He whispered to himself, "I don't need to fight you. I just need to stop you." As the soldiers stepped into view, their weapons raised, Joran yanked a wire loose. The spark coil lit up. The mining cart shot forward. Rolling downhill toward them, the canisters clanged and shook. The soldiers aimed their weapons, but it was too late. The cart crashed into a pile of scrap and exploded. A wall of fire roared upward, blasting the soldiers back. Shrapnel flew across the junkyard. The ground shook. Joran shielded his face, his ears ringing from the blast. When he looked up, smoke covered the battlefield. 2 soldiers lay motionless, but one still stood, limping from the fire. His red eyes locked on Joran. The soldier roared and charged. His heavy boots pounded the ground, his weapon raised high. Joran grabbed the closest thing he could find, a metal pipe, and swung. The impact rang out. But the soldier barely flinched. With one strike, the alien's gauntlet smashed the pipe in half. Joran stumbled back, fear gripping him. The soldier raised his weapon to strike again, but suddenly, a bright pulse of energy shot from behind. The baby's glow burst through the cloth, a wave of light knocking the soldier off his feet. Joran froze, his eyes wide. The baby had saved him. The glowing lines on her skin blazed like fire. Pulsing with power, her small hands reached upward. Innocent yet filled with something beyond human, the soldier struggled to rise, but Joran didn't give him the chance. He grabbed a sharp piece of metal and drove it into the alien's armor joint. The soldier roared in pain, stumbled, then collapsed into the dirt. Silence filled the junkyard once more. Broken only by Joran's heavy breaths, he dropped to his knees beside the baby. Carefully lifting her into his arms, her glow dimmed again. her eyes closing peacefully as if nothing had happened. Joran's hand shook. He whispered, "What are you, child? What kind of power is inside you?" But no answer came, only the soft sound of her breathing. He sat there for a long moment, staring at the bodies of the fallen soldiers. Fear twisted inside him. He had killed before in accidents, but never like this, never in battle, and yet, tonight he had survived because of the baby. He looked up at the burning sky, smoke rising like black pillars. "They won't stop," he muttered. "More will come." He tightened his hold on the child. The promise to her mother echoed louder in his mind. This was no longer about just survival. This was a war he had been pulled into. He rose to his feet, limping slightly. His workshop was gone, his old life burned away. Now, he was carrying something the galaxy wanted to control. He looked at the baby's glowing skin and whispered, "If they want you, they'll have to go through me." As he walked deeper into the junkyard, fire still burning behind him, Joran realized a truth that chilled his blood. This was only the first attack. The real war had yet to begin. The junkyard was silent again, but Joran's heart was still racing. His hands trembled as he held the baby close. The glow on her skin had faded back to a faint shimmer. As if the burst of power had drained her, she rested quietly in his arms, innocent and unaware of the chaos around her. Joran sank down beside a broken ship hull, his back pressing against the cold metal. He stared at the dark sky above, smoke still rising from the hangar far behind him. His workshop, his tools, his life, all burned away in a single night. And for what? A child he didn't understand. A promise he didn't mean to make. But the image of her mother's eyes, full of tears and desperation, haunted him. The words echoed again. "Promise me. Protect her." Joran ran a hand through his greasy hair. He had never been a man of promises. He had once promised his wife he would be there always. But fire had stolen her before he could keep those words. He had promised his brother they would leave the scrapyards together. But sickness had taken him. Every promise he had ever made had broken, leaving nothing but guilt, and yet here he was, clutching an alien child with glowing skin, whispering to her like she was his last hope. "You don't know me, little one," he said softly. "But I'll be damned if I break this one too." The baby stirred, opening her strange bright eyes for just a moment. Her gaze locked with his, and for an instant, Joran swore he felt something like warmth, like trust pass between them. Then her eyes closed again. Joran sighed deeply. He looked around the junkyard, the bodies of armored soldiers still smoking in the wreckage of his trap. He knew this was not over if they wanted her so badly. They would send more, stronger, smarter, and he was just a mechanic, a man who fixed things others threw away. But he also knew machines had taught him something important. Even the most broken thing could work again if you cared enough to rebuild it. He pulled himself to his feet, cradling the baby carefully. His voice grew firmer. "I may not be strong. I may not be a fighter, but I can fix what's broken. And right now you're all I've got. So I'll fix a way to keep you safe." The promise felt heavy in his chest, but also powerful, like fire in his veins. For the first time in years, Joran felt purpose. He searched the junkyard until he found an old hover cart. Its engine was dead, its frame half rusted. But to Joran, it was perfect. He laid the baby inside gently, then began to work. His hands moved with skill, tightening bolts, rerouting wires, patching leaks. Hours passed, sweat covered his brow, but slowly, the machine came to life. Its faint hum filled the air. Joran smiled for the first time that night. "There," he whispered. "We'll ride this out together." As dawn approached, Joran guided the hover cart out of the junkyard. The city lay in the distance, a maze of danger, but also cover. He needed food. He needed supplies. He needed a plan. The baby made a soft sound. Half a cry, half a sigh. Joran lifted her gently, rocking her in his arms. "I know you're hungry," he said, his voice rough, "but I'll take care of you. I promise." His chest tightened as he said those words. He remembered holding his own child once, long ago, before the fire, before everything had been taken. That baby had never lived past her first year. Sickness had stolen her breath. Joran had buried her with his own hands. Now, as he looked down at this alien child, he felt the same ache, but also something new, a chance to protect. To do what he had failed before, he whispered. "You may not be mine by blood, but tonight, you became mine by choice." The hover cart hummed quietly through the outskirts, but Joran's mind stayed sharp. He saw shadows moving in the distance, red eyes scanning the ruins. The hunters were still searching, tireless and merciless. He guided the cart into a hidden tunnel beneath the city, a place where smugglers once moved stolen goods. The smell of damp stone and oil filled the air. His eyes darted around, listening to every drip of water, every echo of his footsteps. At the end of the tunnel, he found a small chamber, dusty and forgotten. Inside lay broken crates, old fuel tanks and rusted pipes perfect for hiding. He cleared a corner and set the baby down on a blanket. She cooed softly, her glow faint but calm. Joran crouched beside her, exhaustion finally pulling at his body. He touched her tiny hand with one finger, her little fingers wrapped around it. Holding him with surprising strength, his throat tightened. "I'll protect you," he whispered again, firmer this time. "I'll protect you no matter what they send. No matter who they are, that's my promise." The baby gave a soft sound, almost like an answer. The glowing lines on her skin pulsed faintly, like the beat of a tiny heart. Joran leaned back against the wall, his eyes heavy. For the first time since the night began, he allowed himself to rest, but even in sleep, his hand stayed close to the child, never letting go. Above them, the city stirred awake, and in the shadows, the hunters prepared again. The war was far from over, but Joran's promise had been made, and nothing in the galaxy would make him break it. The hidden chamber beneath the city was quiet. Only the faint drip of water echoed through the tunnels. Joran sat against the wall, his eyes heavy but never fully closed. He had slept in short bursts, always waking to check on the child. Every sound in the tunnels made his heart race. The baby lay wrapped in cloth on an old blanket. Her skin glowed faintly in the dark, soft and gentle like moonlight. Joran watched her closely, still amazed by the strange patterns that shifted across her body. They were not random. He was beginning to realize that. He leaned closer, squinting at the glowing lines. They moved slowly, forming curves and shapes. For a moment he thought they looked like letters, but not in any human language. They pulsed in rhythm with her tiny heartbeat. "What are you hiding, little one?" Joran whispered. The baby stirred, her eyes opening for a moment. Those bright alien eyes locked with his. Then something strange happened. The glowing patterns on her skin grew brighter. Spreading across her chest and arms, Joran gasped. The walls of the chamber lit up as if responding to her. Symbols flickered faintly on the rusted pipes and metal crates. The light bent and danced, forming shapes in the air like a projection. Joran stumbled back, his mouth open. Before him hovered a holographic image. Spinning slowly, it was a map, vast and star-filled. Planets glowed like jewels, connected by strange lines. At the center burned a great symbol, one that matched the glowing mark pulsing on the baby's chest. Joran's breath caught. He reached out a shaking hand but pulled back quickly, afraid to touch it. "By the stars," he muttered. "She's carrying..." A message. The map shifted, focusing on one planet. The symbol flared, and words appeared in a language Joran didn't know. Yet somehow, deep inside, he felt the meaning. The child was not ordinary. She was heir to something powerful, something royal. Joran's chest tightened. The dying mother's last words echoed louder than ever. She is hope. Hope for her people, hope for the galaxy. Joran now understood why the soldiers had been desperate to take her. Whoever controlled this child would control more than just a life. They would control a future. The hologram flickered, then faded as the baby's glow dimmed again. She let out a soft cry, tired from the strange display. Joran hurried to scoop her up, rocking her gently. "It's all right, little one," he whispered, though his voice trembled. "I saw enough." He sat back down. Holding her close, his mind spun like a storm. He was just a mechanic, a man of tools and grease, and now he carried a secret that could shake entire empires. His thoughts were broken by a noise, metal scraping in the tunnels. Joran's eyes snapped to the dark passage. Shadows moved. He cursed under his breath. They had found him again. He quickly packed his few supplies, then wrapped the baby tighter against his chest. Her skin still glowed faintly, too bright to fully hide. He pulled an old coat around himself to shield her light. As he slipped into the back tunnel, heavy footsteps filled the chamber he had just left. Voices growled in a language Joran didn't understand. Red beams of scanners cut through the dark. Searching, Joran pressed himself against the wall. Holding his breath, the baby whimpered softly. He froze, his hand gently covering her mouth. His heart pounded so loud he feared they would hear it. The soldiers passed close, their shadows stretching across the tunnel. One paused, sniffing the air like a predator.
Joran clenched his teeth.
Sweat dripping down his temple. He thought it was over, but then the baby's glow faded completely. Leaving only darkness, the soldier grunted. Confused, then moved on. The group disappeared deeper into the tunnels. Joran exhaled shakily. His legs almost gave out. He whispered to the baby, "You saved us again, didn't you?" His voice was half in awe, half in fear. He knew then that she was more than just a royal heir. She had power inside her, power that responded to danger. She was not only hope, she was also a weapon. Joran tightened his hold, his jaw set. "That's why they want you," he said. "But they'll never have you." Hours later, Joran reached the surface through a hidden exit. Dawn painted the city with weak light. The streets were quiet, too quiet. He guided the hover cart carefully, avoiding patrols. He stopped at an abandoned marketplace, broken stalls scattered across the square. He set the baby down for a moment to rest. Her skin glowed again, but this time the lines formed a new pattern. Joran's eyes widened. He recognized one of the symbols. It matched an old logo he had seen on starship parts years ago, a mark of a fallen dynasty, a royal house destroyed in the galactic wars. His throat tightened, he whispered, You're their last bloodline." The realization hit him like fire. This child was not only special, she was the last heir to a throne, the one enemies feared would rise again. That was why her mother had fled, why soldiers hunted her. Joran looked at her tiny face, peaceful in sleep. He whispered with tears burning his eyes, "You don't know it yet, but the galaxy will one day bow to you, and until that day, I will stand between you and anyone who tries to take you." The baby's hand moved, clutching his finger. Her glow pulsed warmly, as if sealing his words with silent trust. For Joran, the promise had changed. It was no longer only about survival, it was about destiny. And as the sun rose over the broken city, he knew the real journey had only just begun. The sun rose weakly over the ruined city, its light falling across broken towers and empty streets. Joran guided the hover cart through narrow alleys. Keeping low, every shadow felt like an enemy. Every sound made him tense. The baby lay hidden beneath his coat, her glow faint but still dangerous if seen. The night before had shown him the truth. This was no ordinary child. She carried a secret tied to a lost royal bloodline, and the galaxy wanted her. Joran knew that meant the hunters would not stop. He stopped the cart in an abandoned service station, dust covering the cracked floors. He placed the baby gently on a bench, her eyes blinked open. Glowing faintly in the dim light, Joran ran a hand through his messy hair. "We can't keep running forever," he whispered. "Sooner or later they'll catch us," as if to prove his fear. A low rumble shook the ground. Joran froze. He stepped to the door and peered out. His chest tightened. In the distance, black ships moved across the sky, sleek and armored, scanning beams sweeping the streets. "They've brought reinforcements," Joran muttered, his voice dry. The first wave had been soldiers, but now they were sending hunters with machines. He hurried back inside, grabbing his bag of tools. His hands shook, but his mind worked fast. He pulled wires, scrap metal, and fuel cells from the broken walls. "If I can't fight them head-on, I'll slow them down," he whispered. He had always been a fixer, and tonight he would turn that skill into survival. The baby cooed softly, as if sensing his fear. Joran looked at her, his voice softer. "Don't worry, little one, I promised I'd protect you. And I will." Moments later, the sky roared. A hunter ship descended, its engines shaking the ground. Black armored soldiers poured out. Their red eyes scanning, they moved with precision. More dangerous than the first wave. Joran pulled the baby close and slipped into the back door. The streets echoed with boots and metallic growls. He ducked behind a wrecked transport, breathing hard. His heart pounded as he heard one of the hunters bark. "Find the child. No human leaves this district alive." Joran gritted his teeth. His grip on the baby tightened. He couldn't keep running forever. He had to fight. He spotted an old power grid nearby, wires dangling loose, his eyes lit with an idea. He set the baby in a safe hollow of the transport and whispered, "Stay quiet, little star. I'll be right back." The glow in her eyes followed him as if she understood. Joran crawled to the grid, his hands moving quickly. He rewired the loose cables. Rerouting energy into a single line, sparks flew. He worked with the focus of a man who had repaired 1,000 broken things. But this time, the machine he was fixing was his only chance to live. The soldiers moved closer, their footsteps heavy. Jorn's fingers burned as he twisted wires together. At last the trap was ready, he whispered, "Come on, you bastards." As the first soldier passed under the grid, Jorn yanked the lever. A surge of power ripped through the cables. Lightning exploded across the street. The soldier screamed as his armor lit up, then collapsed smoking. Others stumbled back, shields rising. But the trap had bought precious seconds. Jorn ran back, scooping up the baby. The glow on her skin pulsed brightly, as if reacting to the chaos. A strange warmth filled Jorn's chest as she looked at him, almost like she was giving him strength. But more ships descended. The hunters were everywhere now. The city shook under their power. Jorn ducked into an underground passage, running until his lungs burned. The baby stirred, her skin flaring with light. Suddenly the light burst outward, a wave of energy slamming through the tunnel walls. Rocks crumbled, sealing the passage behind them. Jorn gasped, staring at her. "You did that," he whispered. His voice was filled with awe and fear. The baby blinked innocently, as if nothing had happened. Jorn staggered deeper into the tunnel until he reached a forgotten chamber filled with rusted machines. He sank to the floor, holding the child tight. His heart still racing, he realized something then. She wasn't just reacting to danger. She was defending them. She had power inside her, enough to shake walls and crush soldiers. Jorn pressed his forehead against hers, his voice low and fierce. "They think you're a prize to be taken, but they don't understand you're more than that. You're alive, you're hope, and I swear I'll raise you to be free, not a weapon, not a trophy." The baby's glow pulsed warmly, as if agreeing with his words. Above them, the hunters regrouped, black ships circling the city like vultures. Their leader's voice boomed through the streets. "Bring me the human, bring me the child, or this city burns." Jorn's eyes narrowed. His promise grew stronger. He would not give her up, he would not break. The hunt had only grown darker, but so had his resolve. And as the fires of war spread above the city, Jorn, the mechanic, held the last royal child in his arms and whispered again the words that now defined his soul. "You'll live no matter what it takes." The city above burned, black smoke curling into the morning sky. Hunter ships circled like vultures, their red beams cutting across empty streets. Jorn stood in the shadows of the underground chamber, the baby resting against his chest. Her glow was faint now, as if her strength had been drained from the last burst of power. He knew he couldn't run forever. They would find him again and again, until either he was dead or the baby was taken. His promise echoed louder in his mind. Protect her, no matter what. The ground shook. A massive ship landed in the heart of the ruined city, its engines roaring like thunder. From its ramp descended the commander, taller than the soldiers, his armor black and lined with crimson light. His voice boomed through a loudspeaker. "Human mechanic, you cannot hide. Give us the child, and you may live." Jorn's fists clenched. He looked at the baby, her small hands gripping his shirt. Her glowing lines pulsed weakly. His chest tightened. "They'll never have you," he whispered. He strapped his bag of tools across his shoulder, tucked the baby inside the sling across his chest, and climbed the stairway to the surface. The city stretched out before him, fire and ruin everywhere. And there in the center square, the commander waited. Surrounded by armored soldiers, Jorn stepped out. His voice cracked but steady. "You want her? You'll have to take her from me." The commander tilted his head, his red eyes burning. "A mechanic dares to challenge me. Do you even know what you protect?" Jorn shouted back. "I don't care if she's a princess, a weapon, or a star itself. She's a child. And she's mine now." The soldiers moved, their weapons raised. Jorn's heart pounded. He pulled a device from his bag, a small core he had wired together from scrap. Sparks danced around it. He had built it during the night, a desperate gamble. A shock bomb strong enough to disable machines. He threw it at their feet. The square lit with white light, energy ripped outward. Soldiers screamed as their armor flickered. Weapons shutting down, Jorn charged forward. Swinging a wrench at the closest one, the strike landed hard. The soldier fell, but the commander stepped through the blast untouched. His armor absorbed the shock. His blade of crimson light burned as he drew it. "You cannot stop me," he growled. Jorn backed away, fear twisting his gut. The baby stirred, her glow pulsing brighter as if sensing the danger. Her tiny body radiated light stronger and stronger, until the commander shielded his eyes. A wave of energy burst out, shattering glass around the square. Throwing soldiers into walls, the commander staggered but remained standing. His voice roared, "She is the heir. She carries the blood of kings. Give her to me, and I will spare your worthless life." Joran held her tighter, his voice shaking but firm. "No, you'll never touch her. Not while I breathe." The commander lunged, his blade cutting through air. Joran dodged, barely escaping. He swung his wrench again, sparks flying as metal clashed. Pain shot through his arm, but he refused to let go. The commander struck again, and this time Joran took the hit across his side. Fire burned through his ribs, but he stayed on his feet. Blood ran down his shirt, but he kept the baby shielded in his arms. "Run," a voice in his mind whispered, but his legs stood firm. He could not run, not now, not ever. The commander raised his blade for the final strike. But before it fell, the baby's glow erupted like a star. A shield of pure light burst outward, surrounding Joran and the child. The commander's blade crashed against it and shattered. The ground split, soldiers screamed. The light rose higher, until the square itself glowed like dawn. Joran looked down at her, his eyes wet. "You saved me again," he whispered. His knees gave way, he collapsed to the ground, clutching her to his chest. The commander stumbled back, blinded and broken. His army scattered in fear. Silence followed, broken only by the baby's soft cry. Joran coughed, blood staining his lips. His body trembled. He had taken wounds that no mechanic could fix. He knew his time was short. He lifted her tiny hand to his cheek, his voice soft but strong. "I promised your mother, and I kept it. I don't know how long I'll last, but as long as I can breathe. You'll never be alone." The baby's glow pulsed gently, as if answering, wrapping him in warmth. Joran smiled weakly. "Maybe one day, you'll grow strong. Maybe one day the galaxy will know your name. But if they do, let them also remember. It was a human mechanic who kept you alive." The wind carried his words through the empty square. The fires burned low. The hunters had been broken for now. Joran sat there in the ruins, holding the child who would change the future. His body weak, but his promise unbroken. He had made his choice, and it would echo across the stars.